The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, says those clamoring for the removal of the national chairman of the party can only achieve their ambition through constitutional means. The former vice president was speaking in Ibadan during the course of an interactive session with stakeholders from the southwest. Arise correspondent Olutayo Famous Cole reports.
Nerves and gauge the pulse of stakeholders in the southwest extraction of Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party.
Nigeria therefore needs you, a unifier, a bridge builder, and a tested leader as next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your candidature is the tonic Nigeria needs to regain our vitality.
So welcome our incoming president from next year, Atiku Abubakar, to our zone and to assure him of our determination to support his ambition to a successful end.
Leaders of the party from across the nation converged on Ibadan, where they reached a consensus to work for the interest of the party ahead of next year's general election.
But today, you'll be addressed by the presidential candidate of our party, who was the chairman and vice president and chairman of National Economic Council under President Olusegun Obasanjo from 1999 to 2007, where he presided over the National Economic Council. And I'm sure you know the economic policies that they drove together with his boss that brought about prosperity for Nigeria. That is what we are going to witness by the grace of God under his leadership.
The Nigeria of today is not the Nigeria of our dream. There is only one amongst the entire lot who has that capacity, who will have respect for all and is ready to sit down to discuss with all, and has enough experience to put us together. And that man, you know, is Atiku Abubakar.
Of PDP should be restructured such that what you have in the face of Nigerians right now, which is our candidate is from the Northeast, the PDP national chairman is from the North Central, but we must resolve the issue of what we have in the face of Nigeria by asking the national chairman to step down.
The People's Democratic Party say they are confident of victory under the leadership of its presidential candidate. Addressing delegates at the event, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar urged those seeking for the removal of his national chairman to do so through constitutional means.
I have no problem from wherever any member of the party comes from, but it must be done in accordance with our constitution, our regulations, and our practices. Therefore, what Governor Sheyi is calling for is achievable under our constitution, under our conventions, under our rules, under our regulations, and under our procedures. So those institutions must guide whatever changes we make.
Atiku, who promised to unify the party, appealed to PDP members to work for the interest of the party at next year's general election.
So, Your Excellencies, distinguished leaders of our party in the Southwest, what is before us? I don't want us to lose focus. The focus is how do we win the next election? And I want want to assure you it is doable, it is achievable, we can do it, we have the capacity to do it, we have done it before.
The leadership of the PDP assured that they would continue to synergize with all stakeholders in its determination to wrest power from the ruling party. Olutayo Femosko, Arise News, Ibadan.
All right, joining us now for more on this are legal practitioners. Let's see it from the legal perspectives tonight. Abah, Ejimi, and Arise analyst. Thank you very much, both of you gentlemen. You're going to have to help us understand the legal implications of what seems to be playing out within the PDP. But let me start with Mr. Ejimi here. Well, Atiku is saying, look, if we're going to remove the national chairman of the party, it must go through, the party constitution. Otherwise, you'll be offending, the aspects of the PDP constitution. Does he have a valid point?
Thank you very much. The former Vice President, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, in his comment, which he made today, actually was right on point, legally speaking. Because the constitution of the party is what regulates, the constitution of the party is what regulates how people can take up political offices, how they can also be removed. It depends, however, on the need to also, you can also have to build in the political situation.
Right.
You can also have a political solution, which is not offensive to the Constitution, because the Constitution itself recognizes that the political party is an organization that is established for the contest of political power. Therefore, while it is regulated by the Constitution of the party and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, there are also instances where built into the system is the political solution that can also achieve the result without offending the Constitution.
Yeah, but the party doesn't seem to be going the way of the political solution to this. Does it portend what exactly is playing out here? Because according to you, there is a political option to resolving these issues. Why are they not being explored?
I don't think it's correct to say that the party is not exploring the political solution to solving this problem. When this crisis started, well, maybe not a crisis, but when the disagreements started, there were quite a number of issues that were put in the basket. Those issues included the fact that almost all the top guns in the party, the chairman of the BOT, the chairman of the Governors Forum, the chairman of the party, the national chairman of the party, and of course, the presidential candidate of the party were all from the former northern region of Nigeria, the defunct northern region. Now, having put all of this in the basket, as negotiations went on, you will agree and you will recall very quickly that the chairman of the BOT, who is himself from the North Central, like the chairman of the party, decided to tender his resignation. That was a political solution. And talks are ongoing, and the truth is nobody can question the democratic credentials or some of the people involved in this disagreement. If you take Professor Jerry Garner, for instance, that's one of the best in terms of the democratic credentials. His democratic credentials are unquestionable. They were the ones who, at the risk of life and limbs, decided to take on the military junta of the time. Remember, they were the ones who started the G18, G34, which eventually transmitted into the PDP, who took on the military at the time. At the risk of life, it was a very dangerous thing to do at that time. So you can't question their democratic credentials. Take the governor of Benue State.
Frank Tietie, as we're looking at the legal implications of all of this. Frank, I mean, what do you make of what's playing out? The constitution of the party has been brought up now. And I'm looking at two sections here, section 45, subsection 2, and section 47, subsection 6 of the PDP constitution as amended. What do you make of it? If you're aware of these sections, or do I read them out?
Read them out, but I think your question is more political than legal. And political questions are ordinarily issues that the courts will not want to inquire into. We've seen many PDP chairmen removed in very dramatic circumstances, resembling the type of being removed or as if he was under the compulsion of the barrel of a gun, or Uche Secondus removed because he was sacked from the party at the local government level by some disgruntled elements. So the PDP constitution provides for zoning. It wasn't really respected in the emergence of Atiku Abubakar as its presidential flag bearer. So the issue of the emergence of a PDP chairman or his removal is more political than legal. The PDP constitution may be very clear to the extent that the convention can remove the chairman and on other circumstances where the National Working Committee can do the same. But that that's not often the case. It's more political. We've seen it. And the PDP appears to be playing with fire, not having learnt some lessons from the past. A sitting PDP president lost election despite his incumbency powers because of imbroglio in the PDP, the type that is being repeated at this time. Yet the PDP is allowing public discourse to center around the disagreements of powerful forces in the persons of governors who actually determine who win elections in Nigeria. So you can actually predict the outcome of the 2023 election by the interplay of these forces, of these governors, Wike, Ikpeazu, Makinde, and others. And Atiku Abubakar is taking this lightly, but it appears he has broken the jinx by the visit to Oyo State. Expectedly, if this call for balance and fairness by the now almighty Wike, who has become a thorn in the flesh of Atiku Abubakar at this time, the PDP might be headed for very serious dire straits as we approach the elections.
This is more political than constitutional or legal. Are you saying that there might be no constitutional crisis brewing in the major opposition party? Again, let me read section 47, subsection 6 of the party's constitution to you. It says, where a vacancy occurs in any of the offices of the party, the executive committee at the appropriate level shall appoint another person from the area or zone where the officer originated from, pending the conduct of the election to fill the vacancy. So that means, are you from the North Central? If they're asking for him to go, like Sheyi Makinde has said, the Southwest is calling for him to go, the Constitution does say somebody else from the North should emerge as the chairman of the party. So, I mean, the South is clamoring to take the position, but the Constitution says if a Northerner steps down, a Northerner should take the place.
Oh, well, that should be the exact thing that should happen, but this is politics, which is a game of possibilities and impossibilities. Expectedly, the only reason which is written on the wall for which Ayu is being asked to resign is simply for balance, for the bruised ego of someone who has not been able to get past his defeat in the PDP primaries. They should have seen it. Wike and his good friends in the persons of Makinde, Ikpeazu, should have seen the handwriting on the wall that the emergence of Ayu, a die-hard ally of Atiku Abubakar, is becoming the chairman of PDP, was not going to be in their interest in any way, but wholesomely going to be the interest of Atiku Abubakar. They realized too late after the convention. And these are men who have worked tirelessly, assiduously to keep the PDP working when the PDP was supposed to be in the doldrums. And they know for certain that they will lose everything that they've worked for in the PDP. They will lose total relevance if Ayu remains as chairman. So but they've lost it out. But they know that if Ayu dares to resign, it will be only in Atiku's interest that he assuages the call, the bitterness on the part of Wike at this time. If he doesn't, there are very serious consequences which recent history points to in the fact that a broken party, as it was in the days of Goodluck Jonathan, approaching a general election with an incubential APC the PDP might just not have a chance. So no matter how much you throw up the legal issues, these are plain political matters.
Well, apparently both of you gentlemen agree that a political solution is the best way out, if not the only way out. Jambi, let me come back to you, because it looks like all sides seem to have very valid positions. Atiku is saying, look, we cannot give the leadership Nigerians want if we're not able to fix this, very quickly. And Seyi Makinde, the Wike team, is saying, if we want to restructure Nigeria, we must restructure the PDP first. Very valid arguments. So what exactly is that political solution that you can find? Because, look, Tietie is saying PDP is playing with fire. It looks like the party has not really learned any lessons from the past.
What we see playing out is it wasn't unexpected.
What's the way forward?
Yes, what we see playing wasn't unexpected, and so the leadership ought to have had some contemplation as to how to deal with the situation. Because when you have a presidential primaries, these are very big guns. These are top men and women gunning for that position, and only one person can occupy the position at any particular time. Therefore, they should have had in place a plan as to how to assuage the feelings of those whose egos who would have lost in the primaries. But I think they responded too late. However, I think they still have the solution. And that solution is to sit down. And that's why I was talking about the democratic credentials of the people involved. These are people, take Governor Nyesom Wike, for instance. He stuck out his neck, built the party, like Tietie said, when everybody appeared to have scampered into their rat holes. These were the men who stood by the party and ensured that the party did not go under. Take Professor Jerry Ghana, for instance. Take a Governor Otom of Benue State, for instance. He was in the APC. He could have remained in the APC in order to get a second term easily. Yet he decided to align with his people when the people were being killed. And therefore, you can't question their democratic credentials. With what we see going on in this country, and don't forget that NSAS was just a signpost as to where this nation could go if things go awfully wrong in 2023. If people don't believe that they can have a way of changing the leadership that has brought Nigeria to its knees, then there may be that kind of situation. And this, because they are patriots, they are Democrats, they ought to sit down. It's not the time to begin to think too much about bruised egos. This is the time to save the nation. This is the time to bring Nigeria back from the precipice, and that hope will be reenacted only. And nobody can be dismissive, for instance, of the Peter Obi movement, because these are all options. But the PDP's best position to provide leadership and to wrest power from the APC in 2023.
Seem to be able to resolve its own internal.
Yes, but there is time. In politics, a day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day.
Frank, very quickly now, is this really about, are you stepping down, or is there more that is playing out? Has ego set in? What exactly will happen if IU steps down? Because from all indication, Section 45 of the PDP constitution, like it's been stated earlier, recommends that the next person who should step in, even though temporarily, must come from the same region.
The way it was very easy for the PDP to overlook its constitutional provision on zoning, that is the same manner it will overlook, it may have to overlook the fact that it has to replace a chairman that resigns from the north with a northerner. It may have to overlook it. The PDP was a representation or a replica of the former National Party of Nigeria, NPN, which indeed was a national party. And the idea of a national party was that it was a reflection of balance between North and South and between the regions. The PDP once exhibited that, but unfortunately it is losing that. So when you ask me whether there is more to it beyond bruised egos of Nyesom Wike, who lost an election, a very relevant and savvy politician who nobody thought could pull that weight during the convention. However, Governor Makinde is very correct, and he should be listened to more closely. when he said the PDP needs urgent restructuring. Let them take a cue from what it used to be when it started. My learned friend over there kept on mentioning the likes of Jerry Ghana, Professor Jerry Ghana. Yes, in the era of Jerry Ghana and the rest of them, the PDP reflected that nationality. But the real undercurrent has to do with dissatisfaction among Southern politicians who just can't imagine that this is happening in the PDP, which was once a pride of national politics. And that you have a presidential flag bearer from the north and the national chairman from the north. It's unthinkable. It didn't happen in the NPN. The NPN boasted of how of Adisa Kiloye, of Umaru Diko and Shehu Shagari. It was a coalescence of Nigerianness. And the PDP was close to that in the initial era. That is what it has lost. And it cannot. With the likes of stalwarts like Bode George angry and feeling highly disgruntled, the PDP cannot dare to think that it can approach a national election in this manner. So Governor Makinde appears to hold the aces here when he was magnanimous enough to receive the presidential flag bearer Atiku Abubakar, and to also proceed to be frank to the extent of saying you've got to reform the PDP. That appears to be the only solution. PDP needs to live up to its responsibility, or else it might be disappointing a lot of Nigerians who see it as a credible alternative to what we have now.
Well, very quickly, Mr. Ejimi, Governor Makinde described Atiku as a unifier, and you talked about democratic credentials of those involved in all of this. Do you think that Atiku will be able to resolve this before the elections?
I believe that Atiku will be part of those who will resolve this. It's not just for Atiku alone. But today they have broken the ice. They were in Ibadan. They are now talking. And one of the first things you need to do in conflict resolution is for parties to begin to talk to themselves, not at themselves. And this is the debate that is ongoing. But today I see a new beginning for the party, for the PDP, that they are now talking. They should go deeper, and they should do it very quickly. Even though they still have about 6 months thereabout, time is not on their side. So the party must immediately, the elders of the party must come together. And I saw when you were, before we came on air, the leadership of the party is already talking to Governor Ikpeazu. They have to talk to everybody. And it is not just for Atiku, but Atiku is central. It's going to be central to the resolution of the crisis. One of the things that every one of them must also bear in mind is that the party chairmanship is not as important as getting the government. Once you get the government in place, the party chairmanship, and therefore every hand must be on deck at this point to say, look, let's get the government. Let's form the government, and thereafter we can resolve all of these little issues. Keep watching this space.
I'm sure there are political parties who wish the PDP never resolves this. Arise News analyst Frank Tietie, who is also a legal practitioner, thank you so much for coming on the news tonight. We must also thank you, Abah Ejimi, who is also a legal practitioner. We thank you both.